And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper, and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the Prince of Princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
Good evening. The burden is on Iran to prove to the world that its nuclear program will be exclusively for peaceful purposes. If Iran seizes this opportunity, the Iranian people will benefit from rejoining the international community, and we can begin to chip away at the mistrust between our two nations. On our side, the United States and our friends and allies have agreed to provide Iran with modest relief while continuing to apply our toughest sanctions. We will refrain from imposing new sanctions, and we will allow the Iranian government access to a portion of the revenue that they have been denied through sanctions. But the broader architecture of sanctions will remain in place, and we will continue to enforce them vigorously. And if Iran does not fully meet its commitments during the six-month phase, we will turn off the relief and ratchet up the pressure.
But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night.
This is only a first step. It's an important achievement, but this is a first step. We need to work together based on the same principles on which we started, principles of equal footing, mutual respect, and common benefit.
Let me be clear. This first step does not say that Iran has a right to enrichment. No matter what interpretive comments are made, it is not in this document. There is no right to enrich within the four corners of the NPT.
It has been written clearly in the text of this agreement that Iran will continue its enrichment. And therefore I announce to the people of Iran that the enrichment will continue in the same way it was before. No one should come back after 1 year and say that after the comprehensive agreement we prevented Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. It would be one of those ludicrous historical jokes. What was reached yesterday in Geneva is not a historical agreement. It's a historical mistake. Today the world has become a much more dangerous place, because the most dangerous regime in the world has taken a significant step to obtain the most dangerous weapon in the world. For the first time, the world's leading powers have agreed to uranium enrichment in Iran, while ignoring the resolutions of the Security Council which they lead. This agreement, it means a threat to many countries, including Israel. Israel is not committed to this agreement. The Iranian regime is committed to the destruction of Israel. Israel has the right and the duty to defend itself on its own against any threat.
Fox News alert late last night, U.S. and world powers agreeing to a nuclear deal with Iran.
But here's the question that everybody wants to know today. Can we trust them? Can we trust actually making a deal with them? Here to weigh in is national security analyst for the Clarion Project, Brian Morrow. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks.
So there you go. Here's the question. Can we trust them?
Absolutely not. And that's why we've made our film, Iranium, which has been condemned by the Iranian regime, publicly available at clarionproject.org for everyone to see, which details the history not just of the Iranian nuclear program, but the ideology that drives them. Because if you look at their constitution, the leadership is mandated to pursue the downfall of what they deem to be all non-Islamic governments around the world. So the second that they stop supporting terrorism, they're actually in breach of their own constitution.
Well, will they come along with this because money is in play? Are they able to sidestep ideology because they're going to get a boatload of cash out of this deal?
Well, the difference that you're seeing between Ahmadinejad and Rouhani is just in tactics. And those of us that have been monitoring Rouhani's language over the years, we knew this deal was coming because he's given public speeches that are publicly available where he has said what his goal is. He says, look, I'm very good at deceiving the West, using language and a calm demeanor in order to string along the West, in order to buy time for the nuclear program, and then eventually it'll advance to the point where the West has to just accept it as is. And there's one great quote from a 2005 speech he gave where he said, no, we're not lying, we're just not disclosing everything.
So my impression is that it's not just, of course, the United States, it's also Great Britain and Germany and France and Russia and China. My impression is one of the reasons the West went along with this is they see it as an option to war, and they look over at Iraq and Afghanistan and now Syria and Egypt and just the drama in the entire region, and they want to avoid armed conflict. Do you think that's why they went along with this?
I'm sure it's a factor, but I think over the long term this actually makes war more likely. And that's because the so-called moderate president of Iran has a strategy that he's articulated that's basically one step back in order to later take 2 steps forward. And so they'll freeze major parts of their nuclear program, but then work on the other parts that are lagging behind. It's important to recognize that Iran's nuclear program is not just based in Iranian territory. Their allies in North Korea can work on the things like the warhead and other elements that have proven to be more problematic, and then once those problems are finished, then they can go back and work on these other elements.
You know that whole optimism thing you were hoping for?
I know.
I just destroyed it.
It just collapsed.
Just kind of went downhill
We had
fast.
3.5 hours to rebuild it. Ryan Moore, hey, if you want to get that film for free for a limited time, go to clarionproject.org. You can watch the entire history of the Iranian regime there. All right.
That's right.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.